So start making your way. My name's Carmen. I'm the director of the Northshore Schools Foundation. This is Diana. She's the event chair.
Welcome everybody. So glad to see everybody in person here. We also have people that are going to be viewing on the internet and through our YouTube channel. So again, this is a chance for you to attend our annual event where we get to show off what we've been up to this past year. We want to thank you for being a supporter of the Northshore Schools Foundation, and thank you for introducing your friends and family to us as well.
It means the world to us. So I have a couple housekeeping things. If you're looking for the restroom, you can find it out this door, men's and women's. There is wine on the table. They will be coming around and asking if you'd like beer or soda or water. So be looking for that. Enjoy each other. You're having a behind-the-scenes experience. Dr. Reed, you're at 12. So this is going to be kind of casual, kind of great. So just enjoy each other. Online, we're so glad you're here. Thank you for doing this. We're going to give you a little bit more time, and we're going to bring you back with the Kokanee Elementary School kids playing marimbas it's a group of kids called the Bad Monkeys. So when the monkeys start, you know it's almost time for you to get seated. Thank you. Let's go off this side. Yeah.
faces. Isn't it good to see smiles again? Oh my goodness. And you all look so good too when you're not on a Zoom call. It's nice. Look to each other and say, you clean up good. We've got a lot to get to today, and I'm lucky to have a co-anchor today who I'm getting to know. And my new friend, Tessa Hahn, a Woodinville High School junior, is going to be co-anchoring with us here today.
Yeah, so thank you. If you're here in person, you're going to be getting the behind-the-scenes experience. You'll watch the production happening in real life. So myself and my fellow youth board members are going to be here creating an experience with you. If you're online, you're going to be experiencing the finished product. Hopefully all will go seamlessly, knock on wood. But remember, if you lose the stream, we will be streaming live on Northshore Schools Foundation's Facebook and YouTube.
I definitely should also note that Tessa is with the youth board, which is a really important board we're going to be talking a lot about tonight. And I also want to say, it just doesn't feel right yet to be co-anchoring with someone and not have coffee mugs. So
well, I don't.
Let's do that. There you go. There's one for you. And I'll take one as well.
Thanks.
There we go. Now we're at home.
I don't
there.
drink coffee.
Okay.
But thank you.
I feel better now. So this is my third year back, and a lot has changed, obviously, since 3 years ago. But the goal is still the same, to help North Shore kids and to help North Shore families. Our goal today is to raise $285,000 for North Shore Schools Foundation. A lot of you have given in advance, so thank you. If you're here tonight, today, I guess it's in between today and tonight, we ask that you still give virtually on the app. We take any form of payment. There's cash and check. For the envelope, we're going to collect those at the end of the program. And if you're online, check the notes section because there's a link to help donate as well. You can also go to the North Shore Schools Foundation webpage and click Donate Now.
Yeah, so for those of you who are new to the Northshore Schools Foundation, this organization is a nonprofit committed to amplifying the work of this district, to inspire students and educators to remove barriers for learning, and to help ensure that students, like me, graduate with life skills that we need to be successful after high school. They've contributed over $3.1 million to North Shore students, teachers, and programs since 1995.
Isn't that amazing? $3.1 million. That wouldn't be going to the schools without the foundation. It's just wonderful. You're going to hear a lot about how the foundation works, about where the money goes, how it's raised. We're going to hear some great speakers, see some really fun videos. We're going to hear from student speaker Nora Cherry, and of course, Superintendent Dr. Michelle Reed.
Yeah, but before we jump into,
Yeah. She's kind of been through a lot too.
So before we jump into today's program, we want to say thank you. Over the last year, with your help, the foundation has been able to help 651 families in the 2020 to 2021 school year and 144 families just this year, 2021 to 2022. These families were experiencing financial hardship, and so by providing funding for at-home needs and academic scholarships, students can participate fully in school. This school year alone, 45 projects at 22 schools have been funded through the Classroom Grant Program. With your help, over $15,000 has been donated to the district's Homeless Services Department to help those experiencing homeless or to help families from becoming homeless.
Round of applause for that.
But not only that, more than 900 students have received a backpack or school supply kit, and they have also been providing funding to the Art Docent Program, the Elementary Band and Orchestra Program, and they provided safety radios for Pop Keeney Field, and what is probably the coolest thing ever, they partnered with the district leadership to provide a pizza lunch at every single school in the district for educators and staff, just to let them know that they're loved and that we're rooting for them.
That's a lot of pizza.
Yeah, and
$25,000 in pizza.
Yeah.
I want to be that pizza delivery man.
Exactly, and none of that could have happened without the support of hundreds of donors just like you, so thank you.
A few more thank yous to get to before we get underway. Thank you to the North Shore School Board for making this event happen. Thanks to the committee, Diana, Christy, Sandra, Jen, Patsy, Carmen. We're not going to forget about you either. Thank you so much for all the work you've done to put this on. Yeah. A lot of work goes into this, as you can imagine. And thank you to Evergreen Church for this beautiful, beautiful venue. Evergreen Church, thank you so much. You are true pros, really. Thank you.
But not only that, we also want to thank our sponsors, and for that, I'm going to turn it over to my other fellow Youth Advisory Board members, Ariana and Sydney.
Our reporters in the field. Take it away, guys.
My name is Ariana, and I'm a junior at Bothell High School. I'm a member of the Youth Advisory Board, and my mom is actually a board member at the foundation.
My name is Sydney, and I am a junior at North Creek High School. I'm also a member of the Youth Advisory Board, and my grandma is a part of the foundation board.
Speaking of a commitment to education and public service, we want to take a moment and thank our educators, supporters, and sponsors.
Thank you to the Northshore School District school board members, administrators, and educators for all your hard work and for being with us today.
We also want to thank our sponsors. This event is made possible by some really great supporters. Special thanks to presenting sponsor McDonald Miller and Educate sponsors Amerigroup, Dykeman, Architects and Huddleball, and Ormus Architecture.
And thanks to our learning level sponsors, Banner Bank at Woodinville and Bothell, Pacific Mobile Structures, Snapdoodle Toy, Elevation Cellars, North Creek Storage, McGranahan Architects, and King 5 News.
And thank you to all the community level sponsors listed on the screen.
The foundation also wants to take some time and thank our annual sponsors. These sponsors donate more than $7,500 annually to support the year-round efforts of the foundation.
Special thanks to Cornerstone Construction, Microsoft, and Evergreen Church. And McKinstry, OAC, Chick-fil-A in Canyon Park, and Entra Marketing Group.
Hopefully you picked up your awesome swag bag that has trees from most of these organizations. If we have any left, you can pick one up on the way out or make arrangements to come by the office tomorrow to pick one up.
You'll be hearing from us again soon, but for now, back to you, Jake and Chessa.
Thank you, guys. Another Emmy-winning performance. How did they get a teleprompter, Tessa?
Because they only have funding for one, and they gave it to the people they liked better.
Okay, gotcha. All right. Thanks, you guys. So this time in our history, I think we've all faced a number of hardships. And how many times have we heard the word unprecedented and due to the pandemic, a phrase we've heard a million times? Well, the foundation has been through a lot of change as well. And just like you, the foundation is coming back bigger and better than ever. Since 1995, they were helping just a few teachers, just enough to get a few teachers new resources that they need. And today they've just exploded in growth and helping more and more educators get the innovative tools that they need to enhance the classroom and ultimately help the kids.
Yeah, it's amazing. So let's watch a video about a recent grant that Innovation Lab High School has received.
The Northshore Schools Foundation, it's a fabulous group of people who assist students, families, schools. It provides a lot of help.
Innovation Lab High School is all focused around helping our students to have a place where they have a sense of ownership over what they're learning, how they're learning.
It's all about teamwork, overcoming our struggles, finding solutions to problems.
This grant had to do with one of our amazing intervention specialists and her students wanting to create a calming space.
Kids need calming spaces because sometimes you can get overwhelmed and you need a place to just calm down and get back into your mental state.
We have a number of students who have pretty serious anxiety problems, and having a space like this is an absolute boon for them to be able to calm themselves, reset, and it really has helped quite a few students to more quickly re-engage in their education.
We decided what to put in a calming space by just what kids in our crew wanted, like bean bags at like the Zen garden. You get to make patterns in the sand.
They set up the teepee themselves. They put together the punching bag that we have in there. A big piece of what we did together was we saw this problem, we figured out solutions. We needed some money to help solve that problem.
Our grant process is nimble and responsive for our teachers. They need to be able to see a need in their classroom and know that we're going to respond quickly. Our new grant cycle is every other month. There's always a deadline in the future, but it's not so far away.
Go to the website and you click on the grant. The process is all right there. It's very easy to do.
It was getting put together before I even knew that we had the money.
When we got it, everybody in the crew was so excited, and we unboxing it so quickly and putting it together really fast. So
our students are constantly looking for real world problems and trying to figure out how to get to the root cause of that problem, then to start proposing solutions.
The space in our crew is very helpful to a lot of people, even people outside of our crew. it's also really cool that they were able to give us money, even though they didn't have to.
In teaching, you can never prepare for everything that's needed.
We as schools appreciate the foundation so much because they're right there to help, and we want to be able to fulfill kids' needs.
How lucky are we to be in a district that has a foundation that can make something happen for students, that they know that their voices were heard and that they matter and that they can make this happen.
Wow. So cool to see kids so involved in the grant process, making their dreams come true. I bet it's a tough time to be a high school kid in the last few years. You're a junior this year.
Yeah.
So it's been an interesting few years. How are you guys doing?
Well, I mean, I wish Woodinville had a common space like that, honestly. Maybe something that we could look forward to in the future. But I think even though it's been really stressful, I've been glad that this district has been here to support me and my fellow students through this journey, because it's been a tough year. I haven't really experienced high school, honestly, until this year. But,
Think about that.
yeah, but we're having our Tolo this Saturday, so that's going to be really fun. We're having concerts, we're having events, and it's been a great year so far.
That's great. And the future is bright, wouldn't you say?
Absolutely, yeah.
That's great. Well, I just want to give another round of applause for Tessa. I think that's a great answer, so thank you. We're rooting for you, my friend.
Thank you. And so now we're going to invite you to join us in a little bit of uplifting music from the students at Ruby Bridges High School, or Elementary School, titled A Million Dreams.
I close my eyes and I can see a world that's waiting up for me, that I call my own. Through the dark, through the door, through where no one's been before, but it feels like home. They can say it all sounds crazy. They can say I've lost my mind. I don't care, so call me crazy. We can live in a world that we design. 'Cause every night I lie in bed, the brightest colors fill my head. A million dreams are keeping me awake. I think of what the world could be, a vision of the one I see. A million dreams is all it's gonna take. Oh, a million dreams for the world we're gonna make.
How cute. How cute were those kids? I remember music in elementary school. That's where I learned how to play the recorder badly. Hot cross buns, anybody?
We are going to give you an update on where we are on our fundraising goal.
Oh, and here's our update right here. This is your money, people. Don't laugh. All right, we're currently at $172,000.
Remember, you can give at any time virtually, and we will be reporting back. If you are in person and giving by check, we will collect those at the end of the event and add your generous donation to the total at this time.
But we want to make sure that you know that there's a challenge going on.
A challenge? What?
Yes, apparently there are some generous people who have joined the Ignite Club, and they've all pooled their resources together to create a challenge match fund.
How does that work?
These donors, listed on the screen, are challenging other donors to increase their gift.
The suggested donation is $150 a person, right? What does that mean?
Yes, the suggested donation is $150, but any amount is going to help us make a difference. If you are here today and you're willing to make a donation of $365 and join our 365 Club, $1 a day for students, Our Ignite Challenge match pool will match your donation.
It looks like there's a double match. Is it true if someone gives a first-time donation of $1,000 or more, that will be a double matched by the fund?
Why, yes, it is.
Wow. Thank you so much to our Ignite donors for inspiring giving in that way. Remember, you can donate anytime during this event, like even now.
We will be back again soon to give you another update. But for now, take it away, Jake and Tessa.
Nicely done. Take a break, you guys. You deserve it. Well, that's a great way to raise money. The match fund. Why would you not do that, right?
Exactly. Like, might as well just give more, like right now, to
Yeah.
support everyone at this district. There's no reason not to.
Yeah, I mean, that's a great deal. I would say take whatever amount of money you're able to give at this difficult time and double it. I would say that's the best idea, don't you think?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, might as well. Now or never. Yeah, exactly. But we're actually going to be going into another video. I'm really excited, kind of nervous about this next video.
Yeah, you are. You've told me you're nervous about this.
Yeah, so it's about our youth board, and I'm in the video.
She's nervous because she's in the video, so we need to give her all the support.
I haven't actually seen it or anything, but it was my first time being interviewed, being in a video. But now here I am hosting with you. Wow.
You've officially made it, I guess, when you're in front of all these beautiful people. Okay, well, don't be nervous. We're going to press play, and we're all going to support you. Everything's okay. Roll it, you guys.
The Youth Advisory Board is an important part of the work that the foundation does because it gives us access to student voice. When we realize that we actually could engage our students and ask them what they're thinking and hear from them, our board has really responded by changing the direction of what we're doing. Still focused on the same mission, but understanding how our different pillars might do something different when we hear from students directly about what is going to make a difference to them.
We've found such a wonderful group of committed individuals who are outstanding, community-minded, and service-oriented, who are out looking for ways to improve the experience of their fellow students.
One of my responsibilities as a youth board member is asking my friends and peers what they want to change about the school.
I'm really motivated to help the mental health of students. Students have so much stress, whether it's at home, at school, about our grades. We were really talking about lacking mental health help in schools in the youth board, and then I brought it back to the school and we found Forefront, which works with the UW medical program to bring suicide prevention training to your school and to help train teachers and students to help look for the signs of that. We're finding students who are willing to be mental health mentors for other students.
The Northshore Schools Foundation wants to enhance and enrich the experience of students, and the Youth Advisory Board is giving us fantastic direction on how to do that. The things that students tell us, we view it through our own filters, and so trusting them and seeing the successes that they're having helps to really solidify our respect and our endorsement of their group.
I think it's important that adults hear students and see students' perspectives because most of the decisions will impact us in some way.
Some students have disabilities, so they've brought up testing for disabilities. Some students really want to try out other sports, so they brought up non-competitive sports, and that was really well received.
These are the future volunteers. When these kids are adults, they're definitely going to be volunteering.
They want to be engaged in the classroom, they want to be engaged in learning, they want to have relevant information given to them.
I think that the foundation is a great way to bring together diverse ideas from the district.
Students are helping us redirect dollars to places that make a difference to them right now. They are passionate about nonprofits and what the impact is.
It was cool to see how the changes were really going on behind the scenes, and it was cool to see how our feedback was really being considered.
To be heard means that your opinions are considered, validated, and something is done upon your opinions or requests, and I think that's really awesome.
I feel so lucky to be a part of the Youth Advisory Board. I do feel heard.
The work that we do is only possible because the donors, like you, give us the means to be able to help the students in ways that are important to them. Thank you for your support of the Northshore Schools Foundation. Our kids need you.
You're awesome.
Well, yeah, that wasn't that bad.
No, it was fantastic and so important to connect with your peers and your fellow students and to hear their voice. What's been your experience with the youth board, Tessa?
Well, as a part of the council, we have meetings at the beginning of every month, but we're also given opportunities such as, hosting here today with you, but also we get the opportunity to go to the adult foundation meetings, and I think there it's really cool to see how our ideas, like the one mentioned in the video about mental health, kind of putting an emphasis on that. It was cool to see how our words were really being considered and having an impact in the district.
When you talk to your fellow students and your peers about mental health and about getting back into school in person and everything, how's everybody doing?
I think people are just glad that we can connect with each other and actually see each other, talk to each other. Last year, a little harder to...
So important to be together, isn't it? And talk face
in the
to face.
classroom.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Well, I think it's wonderful what you're doing, and kudos to the foundation for adjusting and finding a way to really connect with the kids through this youth advisory board. I think that's so special. So I think we have another speaker coming up, right, Tessa?
Yeah, so I want to introduce you to Nora Cherry, who is going to share with you about her experience as a Northshore School District student and as a member of the Youth Advisory Board. She's a sophomore at Northshore Networks. I met her at the Youth Advisory Board, and I think she's just such a wonderful person. I really like her, and I think all of you will too.
Nora Cherry, ladies and gentlemen.
I hope. I hope that people will be open-minded, especially people who work in education. If you are teaching people every day, you need to be open to learning and adjusting so you can better assist and educate others. I hope that kids can grow up in diverse schools. I hope that someday school won't be a traumatic experience for minority groups. I hope that someday school can be a safe space for people of all races, sexes, genders, sexualities, and people with any disabilities. I hope that the curriculum will expand to include history and world events in a way that includes the perspectives of people of color, women, people with disabilities, and the LGBTQ+ community. I hope that schools can teach kids life skills and life lessons. I hope that when kids leave elementary school, they understand things like consent, pronouns, and microaggressions. I hope adults learn these things too. I hope that school, especially middle school, can be more enjoyable, more social, more engaging, and overall more interesting with less pressure on students. I hope that the arts will be more accessible in schools. I hope that the school system will stop censoring books and start including good books in their library and curriculum. Can we find something that is more relatable and relevant? We can handle books with mature content. We need to learn these things so we can apply them to our lives. I hope that schools learn to accommodate neurodiverse students with things like audiobooks, getting rid of timed tests, and figuring out how to fairly accept late work and test corrections. I hope that students will feel comfortable enough to ask for help and that educators will encourage students to ask for help. I hope that educators won't give up on us. Schools should work for everyone. I hope that schools of the future will look very different. Hi, hello. My name's Nora Cherry. I'm a sophomore at Northshore Networks. I spend most of my time doing art and listening to audiobooks. I'm from a family of 6, and I'm the oldest of 4. I'm a member of the Northshore Schools Foundation's Youth Advisory Board. I joined the board because I wanted to be heard. I want to make a difference. I want to make a difference for kids like me who feel unseen in traditional schools. Kids who ask for help but continue to struggle. Kids who are seen as lazy or slow but actually have undiagnosed differences. And even though I just shared with you a list of my hopes, I'm not sure how much hope I have. I'm not sure I believe I'll ever live in a world where my hopes are a reality, but that's why I'm here. I'm not standing here because I'm a fan of public speaking, but because I hope I will be heard by people who work in education and by all of you who care about public education for everyone. I want to make a difference, and I'm hoping that you will help make a difference too. I'm the type of kid who would try not to be noticed in elementary school. I would spend my recess in the library doing art. I always tried to spend as little time at school as possible because I felt so out of place. In 4th grade, I realized I was different. Everyone at some point learns they are different from their peers. I was in 4th grade when that happened. That's when I noticed that my brain didn't work the same as other kids in my class. I self-diagnosed myself. I came to the conclusion that I must be stupid. I felt like I had to hide myself so no one would notice my stupidity. It made me feel depressed, and school became my main source of anxiety. I spent my time in class nodding and looking at the board, trying to look busy so I wouldn't be called on. I spent my time trying to look like a good student, even though I barely learned anything. I'd go home and reteach myself everything I'd missed or ask my parents for help. I learned most of what I know at home because all my energy in the classroom went towards masking my symptoms. It's so emotionally exhausting to put all your effort into something that will never be good enough. I would study all night for a test and be devastated to find out I had failed it, after years of this same outcome. Eventually, I just stopped studying. When I didn't study, I didn't expect a good outcome. That way I wasn't crushed when I failed. It gave me a sense of control. In middle school, I barely did any homework. I joked that I was just lazy. Everyone around me seemed to know what they were doing, and I felt really lost. I pretended that getting lost was a choice I made. I blamed my parents for not teaching me to read. I thought they didn't do it the right way. I don't think I ever really believed it. It was just easier than thinking I was the problem. It was scary to think my own brain was the issue. I think I just wanted them to notice my symptoms. It worked. My mom realized I might be dyslexic, and she decided to get me tested. I learned that I was neurodiverse. Neurodiversity means that brain differences are normal. I have ADHD and dyslexia, and by using the term neurodiverse, I am claiming my learning disabilities and saying, there is nothing wrong with me. My brain is healthy and normal. So it turns out I wasn't lazy or stupid. My brain just works differently. I also realized that most of the world was made for neurotypical people. I'm grateful my parents acknowledged my symptoms. I'm grateful they had the resources to have me tested and that they were willing to pay for it. I'm grateful they looked into alternative schools for me so I could be successful and happy in a learning environment. Having these options is a privilege. I had to be privileged to have answers, good answers. Having answers shouldn't be a privilege. It feels like the bare minimum. I still have to go through a school system that isn't built for disabled people, especially undiagnosed ones. Before I got my diagnosis, I remember working on an assignment in class. I was trying so hard to comprehend the paragraphs so I could answer the question, but I couldn't do it. The words went in one side of my head and seemed to come straight out the other. My teacher held up my blank workbook in front of the whole class, and she said, "This is what your work should not look like. You should be done." I was devastated and embarrassed. That teacher was a sub from the Learning Center and would never have treated anyone in her LC class that way. But because I was undiagnosed, she assumed I was lazy. To this day, I don't remember anything in that workbook, and being called out didn't help. But I do remember every word she used to embarrass me. That's not how students learn. Now that I have my 504 plan, my teachers have to help. I'm treated different in a school environment. The diagnosis helps other people understand me. I have to make sense to neurotypical people for my behavior to be considered valid. People didn't care when they thought I was lazy. They only care now that they know I have learning disabilities. I still have to deal with teachers and students who don't understand me and can't help me succeed. I still have the same expectations to meet. I have a diagnosis, but knowing why I struggle doesn't eliminate the obstacles. It only changes the way that I look at them. I wasn't successful in a traditional school, but it helped that there were alternative schools like Northshore Networks. Northshore Networks is a small choice school in our district. We have the option to study subjects on our own, and we work with the school to get credit for individual studies. Teachers can give us more attention and help. It gives me more control of my time and my studies. Teachers at Northshore Networks value my opinion and help me when I need it. Almost all the students at Northshore Networks have some kind of learning disability, so the teachers are more understanding. What also helped me was finding a place to share my voice and to be heard. It's awful that I had to struggle, but it's even worse if I can't help people learn from my experience. I joined the youth board because I wanted to change the way neurodiverse people are treated in schools. We shouldn't be made to feel less than other people. We shouldn't have to pay or fight for accommodations. I like being part of a group of teens who have strong opinions. Thank you. I like being a part of the youth board because it's a group of teens who have strong opinions and are sharing them with organizations that are trying to make a difference too. It's important to listen to kids when it comes to their needs, and I feel like a lot of adults don't do that. I like that the foundation is asking for input from students. While our district grows and changes, the Northshore Schools Foundation is helping by offering scholarships for students and families who need help now. They are asking teachers what they want and providing grants to help fund those needs now. I know they can't change everything, but at least they are open to suggestions, and we are looking for solutions together. They are listening. Are you? Thank you.
Nora, that was really powerful, and really brave to come up and say those words.
That was probably one of the best things I've ever heard. That was really good.
Yeah, really impressive, Nora. Thank you so much. Reminding us, as a father in this district of 2 kids, we live in a wonderful district. There are so many good qualities about this district. We're stronger than ever. We're as diverse. We're as inclusive as ever. But as Nora reminded us, we could always do better. She's called on us to come to action today, folks. Public schools are for everyone. So let's do everything that we can to make the real promise of a free and appropriate education. Education is accessible to all students of all abilities. And this is what the foundation is built for. This is why we exist. We cannot change practices that have been in place for decades. Nobody can. But if we learned anything over the past 25 years, it's that we have a power of community here. We are a community of North Shore, with educators, school leaders, students, parents, people like Nora, the youth board, you name it. North Shore schools will continue to change. That's the way it goes. We'll have a pandemic. Who knows what's going to be next? But just like over the last 25 years, the foundation is going to work together to make our schools look better than ever and to look as best as we can, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So if you haven't given already, I hope Nora's inspires you to. So to get an update on that, let's go back to Ariana and Sydney.
What do you got in the field, you guys?
Well, Jake, things are looking good here. Where are we at, Sydney?
Oh, wow. Okay. Things are happening. We are at $192,000. With 63 new donations.
Now, it is time to introduce someone that most of you already know. Dr. Reed became the superintendent when I was in 6th grade after serving in the South Kitsap and Port Angeles School District. In 2021, she received the esteemed accommodation of being Superintendent of the Year. She is known regionally and nationally for instructional leadership and crafting sustainable systems for district support of the instructional core. It is my honor to introduce Dr. Michelle Reed.
Thank you, Ariana and team. Appreciate that. And I really think we ought to give another hand to Nora. That was really powerful. Also want to remind Jake that his wooden wildcats are doing very well on the prowl. So we appreciate having those 2 wildcats. So thank you, Jake. So it's my pleasure to be here this afternoon and really be thoughtful about our work and most importantly about our community. I think it's important to remember that learning happens best in community, and this is an amazing community. Our schools are a reflection of our community, and the fact that the Education Foundation is such a supportive member of our community, we would not be the district we are today without the support of our Northshore Schools Foundation. So I'd like to give it up for Carmen and the Northshore Schools Foundation Board. Speaking of board support, our district, I also know we have a number of our school board members here. If you wouldn't mind standing, we'd give you a hand, our Northshore School District board members. I will just say that it has been a really, I don't know if unprecedented is the right word, Jake, but it has been several years of opportunity for our board and our senior leadership in the district, and we are a better district for those opportunities. In many places, communities were blown apart and divisions that were deep became deeper. And in our community, we did not. In fact, we came together, which was different than what a lot of communities did, and that's evidenced even by the fact you're here. And that's what winning communities and winning schools have in common. In a crisis, they don't blow apart and run from one another. They come together and work with one another. And that's what makes our community and our district special. I also want to recognize our senior leadership in the district, many of whom are here, and I thank you. It's been a long day and a long week. In the 5th week between midwinter break and spring break, and yes, we're counting them because we have 6-week chunks. And we recognize that if we could plan 6 weeks at a time, we could get through anything. Omicron, and now the new variant. Our numbers are ticking up a little, as you might know if you're looking at our dashboard. But we can take it 6 weeks at a time and do amazing things 6 weeks at a time without thinking about years ahead. And Jake, I hope you weren't a harbinger of, you said there were more things to come. If there's something you know that's post-pandemic, please give me a heads up. Be really helpful to know that. So I want to follow Nora's comments. Carmen and I had a chance to review Nora's comments earlier in the week, and I was very moved by them. As the person responsible for, in really large part, the education Nora is receiving, and all of our students are receiving, it's important to hear feedback that we need to hear and not just the feedback we want to hear. And so that ability to be honest and thoughtful is really important. So thank you. I think it also convicted me personally and convicted our district about the need to open the schools of the future and not reopen the schools of the past. Our schools of the past did not work for every student. There were historic inequities, and we are working on making sure that those stay historical and not current. As we think about our secondary education in particular, the Committee of 10, 130 years ago, designed what we do in secondary education. And quite honestly, if they were still alive today, they would recognize it because it doesn't look very different than it did 130 years ago. And the data point I want you to walk away with today, if you remember very little else, is that 65% of the children in our school district right now, which is about 6 out of every 10, right? 65% of the children in our school district now are preparing for careers that do not exist today. That is the current research out there. 65% of our young people are preparing for careers that do not yet exist. And that is a challenge to each of you in this room, because we have to think about what do our students need to be successful in that world yet to be imagined. And we're so grateful to have partners that are able to fund innovative ideas, nimble ideas that can happen very quickly, because that's what happens out in the real world. I know we have many business folks in the room. You could not possibly process your ideas as long as some of us take to process ideas. I cannot imagine a business that's sitting here that's doing work the way they did it 130 years ago and is still viable. It's not reality. So the work we're doing, I think, is so important and so predicated on our support from our founding or our funding partners. I also want to touch on something Nora said about, and also our other speakers, about the importance of having a just school system. And we often talk about equity as truth in action. And we had last Friday, our Student Justice Collective designed a Student Justice Conference, which we held at Cascadia. It was a really powerful experience for over 200 of our high school students. They had an opportunity to hear a keynote from Dr. Chris Emden, and then were asked about kind of what the deep meaning they found in that morning. And he talked about how important it was for each and every student to be able to show up in learning spaces as their authentic selves. And he talked about how hard it was and how exhausting it was, and we heard that a little from Nora, to be in a learning space and have to pretend you're something else, or try to match somebody else's vision of who you are. That takes a lot of energy if you feel you need to do that, and that energy could be spent on learning, right, and deepening your own understanding. So that was the premise of many other topics that we talked about last Friday. One of the students left a note that said, "My favorite part about today was feeling heard," about using their voice. Another student shared how to use my inspiration to turn it into action. And another said, "We must not be bystanders to oppression and injustice." And the more I thought about what I heard there, what I hear from my student board, the Student Justice Collective, your student board, Carmen, what I know today is that we are educating the leaders of today, not the leaders of tomorrow only. And we have to recognize that our youth have the skills, the voice, if we will simply give them the stage and help amplify that. They have answers. So, just want to remind everybody that our strategic plan is guiding our work, and our board and community has spent a lot of time, although it hasn't been as transparently visible in the last couple years. But we've been working on a refresh of our 5-year strategic plan. We know that for any work to take deep roots, you can't keep changing your goals every few years, so we're staying the course with our 5 goals. We are going to tweak our measurements to make sure that what we are measuring leads to a just system for every student in our district. And we've taken continuous input. We believe that by June of this year, we'll be coming out with our reframed strategic plan refresh, and we're so excited that our foundation comes alongside that strategic plan, and it guides us as a North Star for our district. I also want to say a ginormous thank you to each of our educators and all of our staff and our parents and families. How many of you are Northshore family parents? Yeah, wow. It's been a time, right? Like, it's been a couple years. But I will say that when it's all said and done, I think the data point I know our board are most proud of is that of the districts in our state, we lost the lowest percentage of students throughout the pandemic. And that's a fabulous data point. Our educators, I heard this morning, I was meeting with parents at Morelands Elementary and heard about some of the things our educators did during the pandemic. And I'm still hearing stories, right, about the teacher that came to the house to drop something off just in case the student didn't have it or didn't have time to pick it up. The stories that got read maybe after hours, just the just incredible commitment, which makes, I think, North Shore different. Not because they're asked to do, because it's the right thing to do, right? And yeah. Yeah, it's fabulous. And then finally, I just want to say a big thank you to our voters. The support of our recent capital bond and capital levy and our operations levy will enable us to continue to do the work we've been doing, and I would be remiss if I didn't say thank you. It's the largest scope of work in terms of touching 8 campuses for modernization, updating our one-to-one initiatives, and providing the mental health supports, nurses, title and lab support. Just all the things that will continue to support North Shore in our world-class education commitments. So I just want to remind you, as I conclude my remarks, to continue reimagining the possibilities and remind us that together all things are possible. And thank you this evening.
Thank you also for all the Zoom calls you did with us and interviews throughout the course of the whole pandemic. I think I interviewed her 4 or 5 times while I was in my garage.
Wow.
Yeah, anchoring the news from my garage. Did you know I did that?
No, I didn't.
Yeah.
I mean,
Isn't that crazy?
we were making Zoom calls in cars in the yard, so can't really speak here. But speaking of schools of the future and preparing students for success after high school, I do want to officially announce one other really cool thing that the foundation is going to be doing.
Oh, tell us.
Well,
big announcement, everybody. Breaking news.
Yeah, so we're officially kicking off the foundation's new Skills for Life podcast. So it's a podcast that's aimed at parents, and it's going to expose them to a variety of people that are in interesting and emerging jobs. And these are hopefully going to be jobs that are considered high-demand jobs in the future.
I think Dr. Reed even just said 65% of kids are studying for jobs that don't even exist today.
Yeah,
I don't even know what that means. That's amazing.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's, hard to tell from, for me, I can't even imagine like what those jobs could be. Maybe, sort of the thing that AI is going to take over or something. Right. But so the parents are going to listen to it, and, kids can listen. But if, they're anything like me, I'm busy with homework and tests. I was late today to the warm-up because I had to retake a test. Clubs, sports, all that.
Excused absence, you're okay.
Thank you. I'm glad I wasn't publicly shamed. I just did it to myself. But if the parents like the episode or they think their kid's going to really fit into this sort of job, then, they can share it with them.
Yeah, that's great, everybody. Give a round of applause. That's great. I want to hear this podcast. Subscribe, right, at Spotify and Apple Podcast and all these platforms, right?
Yeah.
For the podcast? Okay, great. So we're getting to the end of the program. Tessa, I think we have one more announcement, right?
Yeah, so I'd like to introduce one last speaker. This is Dr. Charla Griffey-Brown. She's an amazing North Shore parent. Not only is she an active school board member, or school volunteer, she's an accomplished professor, board member, and a consultant who leads transformational change. She works extensively in the area of digital innovation, helping organizations leverage new opportunities through analytics, risk evaluation, and emerging technology deployment to achieve their strategic objectives. I don't know what that means. I hope she's going to go on the podcast. But her published work has been recognized, and she's been recognized for this, and is now distinguished as the editor-in-chief of the International Journal Technology and Society. This is just a little bit about her, but I think you can tell she's already pretty cool. Dr. Griffey-Brown is going to share with you why she donates to the Northshore Schools Foundation.
Thank you. Thank you all for being here. It's truly an extraordinary experience to be part of a community that so deeply cares about our kids, about what really matters, which is preparing our children for an uncertain future. And I have had the privilege of being a part of North Shore School District since 2013, when my family moved here, and we deliberately chose this district because of the community engagement in education. And it has certainly been a privilege to be a parent, a donor, a board member for North Shore Schools Foundation, an advisor. What became immediately apparent with North Shore Schools Foundation was the fact that there is a focus on the potential for every child, amplifying the efforts of the school district to ensure that that we are meeting the needs of all children. We don't do that perfectly yet, so there's plenty of room for us to continue to work to achieve that goal. My children benefited from the great work of the Northshore Schools Foundation, starting in elementary school, and I still have a group of very hard workers who are involved with Hollywood Hill Elementary as volunteers. And I still remember the work of the foundation in the arts, in music, in STEM, ensuring that there was agility and that there were adjustments in what these children are learning so that they have the opportunity to engage in what is beyond the horizon. I particularly remember as my son went to Timbercrest Middle School, as did my daughter, and my son is at Woodinville High School. My daughter is a recent graduate of Woodinville High School. And I still remember the foundation provided support for composting and some worms that my son became very attached to in his desire to save the planet. And I will never forget the smell of the rotted food he would daily put into his bag, telling me that his messy room was a part of the fact that he was preparing for this for his whole life to save our planet. I was just glad to get it out of his room. But there's these lessons which are so innovative and so important, meeting kids where they're at and helping them see these grand challenges that we face and understanding how they can play a role in addressing them. I remember very specifically when the foundation also helped my daughter, who became very much engaged in music, and Woodinville High School had the privilege and opportunity to perform on the Isaac Perlman stage in Carnegie Hall. And there were students who would not have been able to participate in that event if it were not for the generous support of the foundation, making sure, as my daughter said, that there was no cello left behind as they took to that stage. And that regardless of whether a student has resources or not, they're able to see what opportunities there are, because ultimately it's that North Star that will help us create a future worth wanting. It's really important that we understand the future is dynamically changing even as we speak. As a professor at the Pepperdine Graziadio Business School and as Associate Dean of our executive and part-time programs, I can tell you firsthand that the future of work is currently transformed and is dynamically changing. The processes, the technologies at play, and certainly what we see is the need to engage all elements of our communities together. We need people who are neurodivergent to help us address the changes that we see. And that is why it's critically important that we amplify the potential of every single student. And this is what the foundation is all about. The foundation is here to help us navigate these changes. It's even more important than ever, and I don't think we can overstate the criticality of being generous and being generous today, because now is our opportunity. It's an opportunity to donate, and as a collective effort to really invest not just in our future, but in our community in transformative ways. I hope that you'll help us reach this goal. The donations truly transform the lives and truly transform our communities right now. The future is uncertain, but together we are stronger, we are certainly bolder, and we will accomplish much, much more. That's why it's important for us to have organizations like the foundation working with the district. So we have both the North Star that we're headed towards in our strategic plan, but also we have the agility that's provided as we take on board the feedback and the student voices and the other dynamic changes that we're experiencing. So please, what are we waiting for? Join us now, and I encourage you to donate to Northshore Schools Foundation. Here's on each table a nice little QR code and an envelope. I invite you to join us in creating a future that we all want. Thank you so much for this opportunity. Thank you, Carmen.
Thank you, Fernwood students, for shining a little light on us. And thank you, Dr. Griffey Brown, for being such a great supporter. Let's have an update, Sydney.
Oh, right on time, right on time. All right, you ready? You can't talk to me. $196,000. You guys, we gotta hit 200,000. Any donation is a contribution.
Thank you for giving. Keep giving to support kids like us. And remember, the challenge match.
Way to go, ladies. Give our field crews a round of applause. Nicely done. And we are trying to hit $285,000. You can continue to donate through spring break, so keep that in mind as well. Our producer, Carmen, just came up and gave us a note as well. Keep eating and drinking, so don't feel like you have to rush as we conclude the program here. Some folks are going to come by and get your envelopes, and take everything on the table except the tablecloths, truly. Take the flowers, divide it up. It is for you to take home. And we have just been so grateful. I think it's been a fun night, Tessa, don't you think?
Yeah, I mean, I was a lot more nervous than I thought I would be, but it was really great to see everyone here and to be able to help the foundation.
Let's give Tessa a round of applause, too. How brave is that? Let's meet the goal for the foundation, everybody. Let's do it for the teachers and the parents and the students. And thank you for having me back this year. We'll see you tomorrow morning. Thank you.